Hi everyone, it's Karen here. Welcome to another video with me and Lavinia Stamps. Today I'm going to share with you how I created this really fun, super bright, colourful card, which I hope provides some inspiration to the creative challenge this month with Lavinia, which is Blossoming Blooms. So it's May, and this time of the year we often do hanging baskets. Years ago I used to do tons of them. Now I preferred to spend the time in my craft room, but this did remind me of the times when I filled those hanging baskets with loads and loads of blooms, colour, and so this is my offering to you today. You can use whatever stamps you've got, whatever foliage you've got, so it lends itself to a card which you could do happy birthday, how you doing, thinking of you. So I hope you all enjoy it. I've got loads of colour in it. So for my blooms, I'm using VersaFine Clear. Cheerful. That's a good start, isn't it? Summertime and glamorous. So that I've done the centre of my hanging basket. My greens, I'm using Verdant, Green Oasis and Nocturne for the black stamping. I'm also using Mowed Lawn for the background to create the base of my basket. I'm also using Summertime and Cheerful for my stamping. Now, the stamps that I'm going to be using, I've got a couple from the pound range. I've got the mini flower, the single flower. I've got the mini flowers. That's that little set of flowers here. Butterfly, the gorgeous Mooch. Look at him. He's just kind of looking so inquisitively up. What is the fuss with all this foliage? And what on earth is that butterfly doing there? So to create the edge, I'm using one of my black artist pens. These are fine liners. The one that I'm going to be using is the medium one. I've also got some stickles, yellow, and the clear one. Now my stencil, I've got a stencil in the background there too, Glory, and I've coloured in my butterfly with some of my coloured pencils. So for my base, I'm using one of the circles from the Circle Mask set. So there's a lot happening here. The size card that I'm going to be using is half an A4 size of card, but if you didn't want to do it that big, you can just scale the whole thing down. So thanks so much for being here. We will get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this Circle Mask and we're going to pop it on the card around about there. Where is there? That's about 1/3 to 2/3 up the card. I'm going to take my stencil brush, my Mowed Lawn, and I'm just going to create a bit of a circle. This will be hidden once we got all those lovely blooms on top of it, but it just starts us off, provides us with a base. I'm then going to take my Glory stencil. Now, you can choose again any of the stencils that you have. I love this one because you can turn it all sorts of ways so that some of this foliage is kind of hanging down like that. So we're kind of going to go around the whole circle, and I'm going to use different parts of this stencil. You want them, they're oriented at different angles as well. Just like foliage, it grows sometimes where you didn't want it in different ways. Sometimes it grows a bit to the side here. This one's going to peek out the side. That's a lovely one. Now you don't want too much popping out of the top, but a little. There we go. That's a lovely one for the top, that one. Okay, so what you've landed up with is a bit of a decorative edge around the circle that we created. Now, I didn't even, there's a couple of stamps that I didn't mention. For my foliage, I'm going to use Forest Fern. You get 2 stamps in this, and you'll see how beautifully they work. Twisted Vine set, and then I'm using the mini foliage set, these dangly bits from here. This is a great set to have, just because you can use it in so many different ways. This little one peeks up from the snow. This little one, lots of flowers, just again, hillside, all sorts. So that's a must in my view. This is a must in my view. Okay, we'll get started. We'll start with the Forest Fern. And for this, I'm going to use my Verdant and my green Oasis. I'm going to start with a lighter colour. Now, I've got my cloth on my lap, and what I'm going to do is just wipe off a bit of it. I don't want too many of these stems. And you don't have to be too perfect here, because there is so much going on that it will be covered. But you can see what I'm doing, just picking a tiny bit of that ink off. So that I don't land with too many stalks in the centre of my basket. And I'm going to orient these in different ways. I'm going to have some of them peeking out of the top. Some of them along the side. This is so easy. You really can't go wrong with this one, because it's just... So it doesn't have to be too uniform, and in fact you don't want it too uniform, because baskets and foliage don't grow too uniform. So I'm going to change over to the second and smaller stamp in that set. And I'm going to use the dark green, which is the green Oasis. And again, I'm just going to pop a few of these without their stems. All over my basket. You can see I've got some longer pieces of the fern. Sometimes it's joined onto the others. Honestly, you can't go wrong with this. Don't overthink it, otherwise it's going to take the enjoyment out of it. So you want some of this peeking out. One more up here, I reckon. There we go. Enough. You can see how random that is. Just in different orientations, in different ways. So we finished with Forest Fern, and now I'm going to pick up Twisted Vine. Again, I'm going to start with my Verdant. I love this. It's a bit of a, almost like a fluoro green, this one. And look at this stamp. It's just so soft. There's lots of little curls in it, just like little tendrils from ferns. Now with this one, I'm just going to pop a few through the centre of our basket, so that when we put our flowers in, they will be growing that way. So I'm done with that one, I think. I'm only going to keep the lighter green in that Twisted Vine set. Then I'm going to come to my mini foliage, and I'm going to take the long dangly bit. That's a technical term. And I'm going to pop this one. First generation, second generation. and first generation and second generation. So you can see what I'm doing. They're different heights here. That's enough. Voila, I like it. You can always come back and pop a few in later if you don't think it's full enough. Okay, now we've got the fun task of doing the flowers. So I'm going to line up my cheerful, my summertime, and my glamorous. I'm going to line them up at the top of where I'm stamping here. And I'm going to put my single mini flower onto my block first. I'm then going to pick up a couple of cheerful. And then I'm going to go into with summertime. So you can see what I'm doing here. A couple on each side. And then one in the center. So you're building it up slowly. And then I'm going to take my glamorous. And again, I do 3 at a time. That way I can start to see how it's building up. Now you can see I've stayed away from the center thus far because we can fill that. There you go, that's looking lovely. I'm going to now go back in with my summertime and fill in some of the center with that lovely yellow. Then I'm going orange. So you can see how it's coming together now. Voila. Okay, you don't have to fill all the space. You really don't. What we're going to do then is we're going to take this little mini cluster of flowers. This again, this is from the pound range. We're going to take this mini cluster. Oh, why am I putting the lid on? We don't need to do that. And I'm going to keep with my yellow and my orange. And I'm just going to scatter these around the edge of the basket. With my orange. So you can see how that really brings it to life. I just want another yellow in here. That's it. That just didn't feel balanced to me. And now it does. So I'm rather happy with that. I'm going to stop. But you can see what I did, because I just felt it as we went along. Oh, I need a bit here, a bit there. Actually, I do have a bit of a gap in the middle. So I'm going to take... Now I'm going to take the orange. And I'm just going to put a tiny bit of these through the centre. That's it. Voila. Okay, so we've got our lovely basket. I'm happy with that now. And now I'm going to put my mooch. Before I do that, I'm just going to clean this mat. So now we're going to take our gorgeously inquisitive little mooch. And I'm going to ink him up. Now he's a solid stamp. So I'm just going to make sure that I've inked it well. And I'm going to pop this bottom right of my card. Voila. I'm also going to take my little butterfly here. All of the stamps that I use are listed. If you follow my YouTube channel, I'm Karen Telfer. They are listed individually at the bottom of each of my videos, with the links to them on the Lavinia website. So here you go. I just put my little flutterby in there, and I'm going to take one of my coloured pencils. I'm just going to take a bit of orange and a bit of yellow. The detail on these stamps is incredible, so colouring is really not a difficult task. Okay, what I also want to do is there's a couple of these little blooms. We're going to have them falling down next to our little Mooch. So I'm just going to take the yellow, pop a couple there, and then I'm going to do one in the summertime. So it looks like they're just fallen on the ground. And I take a charcoal pencil or a black crayon, one of those. I'm just going to create a bit of grounding under where our Mooch is sitting to give him a bit of a base. There we go. So you can see our little design is coming together. Now I'm just going to clean my hands off there. Okay, so I said I was going to use a fine liner, a Posca pen. That would work just as well if it was a fine one. This one is the medium from this set. And I'm going to just start in one corner. I'm not going to do this on my hand. I'm just going to gently rest my small finger here. And I'm not going to overthink this. And I'm just going to create a little border all the way around our gorgeous little card. If you wanted to draw it with a pencil, go for your life and then draw around it. And then I'm just going to do a double line. And this is a wiggly line, just to create us a bit of interest for our border. Hold the pen upright so that you don't get this happening, the scraping. So there we have that. Now we've just got a couple of things left here. We're going to create the chains for our hanging basket. And to do that, I'm going to use a pencil. Straight up there, straight down there, and one in the middle. Then I'm going to take my fine liner and just create little loops to make it look like a chain. They don't have to be uniform or even, because depending on the weight of the hanging basket and how it's moving, the links will either be long and thin or rounder. So there we have. And now I'll create just a little loop here, just a bit of an interest. And then second to last, I'm going to take my sentiment stamp. This is Words of Spring. Gorgeous words. Flourish, blissful spring, nature. I think it lent itself beautifully to this little card. So I've used cheerful. And I'm just going to pop a couple of these I'm using this piece of paper here so that it doesn't go over the edge where we just created our frame. And I'm going to do the same on this side. So that's using my cheerful. And now I'm going to go in with my summertime and stamp over the top. But, oops. But second generation. So just going to line it up very broadly so that you have this double colour. And if you don't line it up properly or perfectly, no worries. It just creates this lovely double layer. Just like that one. Oh, sometimes you get it and you just think, goodness, that's good. Even if I say so myself. So I hope you're enjoying this lovely, gorgeous, sunny summer weather that we've got here at the moment. And if you aren't in this country or wherever you are, I hope you've got a bit of sunshine too. And then last but not least, we're going to create a bit of glitter with our stickles, yellow and clear. I'm going to pop a bit of that on the butterfly's wings, the clear one, so that he just glistens and glitters, because butterflies do that, tiny light little creatures. And then my yellow, oh, really not overthinking this one. That one was too big a blob. We're just going to blob the center of the flowers. And then a few blobs here and there in between the rest of the flowers on our basket. There we have it. Blossoming blooms. I do hope you've enjoyed that. I would love to see your makes. Please tag me. Have fun. And I'll be back again next Monday with another video. Bye for now.